good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I
Good.
have so many questions.
Ooh, let's do it.
So, first and foremost, what was the impetus or the inspiration for this story? Because it was terrifying.
Yes, I think it's a shared experience that all women have been living in. It's a day. It's the man that's sitting opposite you in the bus that makes you feel uncomfortable. It's your boss that feels inappropriate. It's the situations that women feel unsafe in that we're in every single day. And it's the anger that comes out of that. And it's how exhausted we feel. But, it was loosely based on an actual date that I had where the guy looked perfect on paper. He was, a rich guy that lived in the Hollywood Hills, and I was a waitress at the time. And I got in my black dress and I had this really romantic date. And I went back into his house with him, and it ended badly. And I had to get out of there. And I ended up running from Hollywood Hills to West LA, where I was living at the time. So that was one of those true experiences that, obviously made a huge impression on me and I think about often. And I thought if I was ever to tell a horror story, it would have to be based on something personal and a truth that I've lived in. And that was it for me.
Well, you know what? Good for you for taking something that was
Yeah.
traumatizing, I'm sure, and turning it into a folklore tale for everybody else.
Yeah.
I remember there was a girl that lived in my building that had an experience very similar to
Oh,
this.
really?
And it was a really big Hollywood executive, and they
Uh,
had put an ad in Craigslist looking for a date for a premiere, and she was so excited, and she came back that night because I babysat her dog, and she came back that night, and it was just horrible. So when I saw this, my brain immediately flipped to that moment in time. I was like, oof. I also want to talk to you about the idea of breaking the fourth wall, because I
yeah.
thought that was really cool. I've never seen that
Yeah.
done in this particular type of film. You want to talk to me about that a
Yeah.
little bit?
Well, I wanted to create the most powerful villain I could. And for me as a filmmaker, that villain controls my camera. He's controlling the narrative, he's in power, and he's showing us what he wants to see. And so, he's this charming, wealthy, successful man publicly, but behind closed doors, when he shuts us out of that room, is where he becomes his true evil self. And so what I
Ooh,
really wanted to do and was excited by was to have our protagonist, Cherie, reclaim that camera at the end of the film and make it her own and through
I
her
loved
lens.
how you did that at the end, where she was the one that turned the camera around as he was,
Yeah. Yeah.
meeting his demise, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I love that moment. That was a very powerful moment. I also want to talk to you about um, what was it about Cherie and Palou that made you cast them in
Yeah.
those roles? Because they seemed perfectly cast, and they seemed to have really, really intense chemistry.
They did. Pilu is a commanding force, and you've seen him play a lot of bad guys, and he does them very, very well. And I also knew this incredibly charming side of Pilu too that I got to show, where he could be. I mean, the beginning of the movie is like a rom-com almost. It's boy meets girl, cute date. And so I needed someone who could be incredibly charming and charismatic and then turn into a full-on frightening demon. With Ella Balinska, she's just a force. And there was so much in this film, whether it was the violence of the attacks or, his true form, that I didn't want to shoot, that I knew I was going to have to rely on my actor's ability, what was happening on their face, to convey how terrifying Pilu was. And Ella was able to communicate that. It's such a gift. To be able to stay on an actor's face for as long as I do with Ella. She holds the camera for a minute. Some of the takes are a minute, just right here with her. And not a lot of actors can do that. A lot of people, you just get bored and walk right out, but you're so with Ella. So, she just takes you on this ride.
She really does. I want to talk to you about that jail scene, because
Oh,
I
yeah.
spoke to Ella about this, and I was compelled by that particular scene because he was right up in her face.
Yeah.
And I said to Ella, I'm like, I couldn't tell. I said, it looked really real. Either
Yeah.
you are like the most phenomenal actress ever, or that was like some real intense
Oh,
intimidation up in your face going on. And I
yeah.
wanted to talk to you about, and she explained to me what went down with that scene, but I want to get from your point of view why you let them do a free for all with that. Was it something in particular you were looking for in that scene to capture?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was just a trust there between the actors. There was a big trust between Pilou and Ella. And after we shot that scene, Pilou felt horrible. He immediately was like, "Oh, are you okay? Are you okay, Ella?" And it was visceral for her. She was shaking, you know? And as a director, you're watching this and thinking, this is gold. This is beautiful. This is real and visceral. And this is true horror, right? This is what I'm capturing. And then as a person, you're like, I should never have let Ella do that. You know, is she okay? Can she do this? But she's such a pro. She was like, I'm okay. I'm okay. But everybody was terrified by Pilou on that day. It was, you know, sometimes when you're shooting on set, people are looking at their camera, I mean, their phone, emailing or, you know, eating in the background and just being quiet and kind of bored. Everybody was just like silent. You could feel the tension on the set.
I could feel the tension through my screen. I was like, "Oh
Good.
Lord, what is happening right now?"
Yeah.
I jumped a couple of times. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, "Oh, okay, we going
Okay.
there. All right, I'm gonna go there with you, Shana. I'm gonna go there with you." I was like, "Oh Lord, have mercy." But
Thank
that
you.
it was very well done, and I just want to applaud you for that. I applaud you for bringing that story to the screen. I'm so happy that you were able to find something positive with your story to turn it into something else. And I look forward to the next time we have an opportunity to speak. I really do.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.